Line up and wait runway 16 right, Emirates 18 Super. Emirates 18 Super, request frequency change. Emirates Yankee Romeo Golf Bravo Yankee, cross runway 16 right.
Crossing runway 16 right, Yankee Romeo Golf Bravo Yankee.
Number 1, cleared to land, runway 16 left, Delta 41. Cebu Kingsford Tower, velocity 649, ready for departure at runway 16 right, departing south. Velocity 649, hold short of runway 16 right. Holding short runway 16 right, velocity 649. Delta Quebec Fox. Thank you, good day, Philippines 212 Heavy. Edelweiss 195 Heavy, hold short of runway 16 right. Holding short runway 16 right, Edelweiss 195 Heavy. Edelweiss 195 Heavy. Qantas 10, wind 140 at 8, number 1, runway 16 left, clear to land.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, Japan Air 52 Heavy, ready for departure in sequence at runway 16 right, departing straight out.
Virgin 15 Heavy, wind 140 at 8, number 2, runway 16 left, cleared to land. Number 2, cleared to land, runway 16 left, Virgin 15 Heavy. Line up and wait runway 16 right. Line up and wait runway 16 right, beyond 091. Jetstar 065, cross runway 16 right.
Crossing runway 16 right, Jetstar 065.
Late Alpha Heavy, line up and wait runway 16 right.
Contacting Sydney Kingsford ground on 126.5, Jetstar 065. Yoko, Qantas 10.
Line up and wait runway 16 right, Qantas 18 Alpha Heavy. Sydney Kingsford Tower, Boeing 80, ready for departure in sequence at runway 16 right, departing east. New Zealand 529, contact Melbourne Centre on 127.0.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, Zulu Uniform Kilo Echo Alpha, ready for departure at runway 16 right, departing east.
Contacting Melbourne Centre on 127.0, New Zealand 529. Contacting Melbourne Centre on 127.0. Starlux 250 Alpha Heavy. Flight, Lufthansa 250 Super. Turkish 101 Heavy, wind 140 at 9, number 2, runway 16 left, cleared to land.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, Qantas 139 Alpha Alpha, inbound on the ILS runway 16 left.
Number 2, cleared to land, runway 16 left, Turkish.
Speedbird 258 Super, hold short of runway 16 right.
Turkish 101 Heavy, request frequency change.
Holding short runway 16 right. Speedbird 258 Super.
Cebu Kingsford Tower, Azores 1, ready for departure. Speedbird 258 Super, line up and wait runway 16 right.
Line up and wait runway 16 right. Speedbird 258 Super.
Speedbird 258 Super, contact Melbourne Centre on 127.0.
Contacting Melbourne Centre on 127.0. Speedbird 258 Super. Thank you. Good day. Speedbird 258 Super.
Line up and wait runway 16 right, Qantas 141. Air France 117 Alpha Delta, cross runway 16 right. Crossing runway 16 right, Air France 117 Alpha Delta. Royal Flight 1111 Super, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway.
Wilco, Royal Flight 1111 Super.
Air France 117 Alpha Delta, contact Sydney Kingsford ground on 126.5. Qantas 141, wind 140 at Niner, runway 16 right, cleared for takeoff.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, Emirates 005 Victor Alpha Heavy, inbound on the ILS runway 16 right.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 16 left, Fiji 13 Lima Kilo. Sydney Kingsford Tower, velocity 335 Echo Heavy, inbound on the ILS runway 16 left. Hawaiian 452, line up and wait runway 16 right. Line up and wait runway 16 right, Hawaiian 452. Skyqueen 01, line up and wait runway 16 right. Emirates 005 Victor Alpha Heavy, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway.
Line up and wait runway 16 right, Skyqueen 01. Wilco, Emirates 005 Victor Alpha Heavy. Qantas 139 Alpha Alpha, request permission to cross runway 16 right.
Qantas 139 Alpha Alpha, cross runway 16 right, please expedite.
Crossing runway 16 right, Qantas 139 Alpha Alpha.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, Indonesia 712, ready for departure at runway 16 right, departing straight out. Attention all aircraft, frequency is busy, transmit important messages. Skyqueen 01, wind 140 at Niner, runway 16 right, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 16 right, Skyqueen 01.
Qantas 652, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway. LS runway 16 left. New Zealand 504, wind 140 at 8, number 2, runway 16. Golf Tango Uniform Romeo Kilo, ready for departure at runway 16 right, departing straight out. Golf Tango Uniform Romeo Kilo, hold short of runway 16 right. Holding short runway 16 right, Golf Tango Uniform Romeo Kilo. Contacting Sydney Director West on 126.1, New Zealand 504.
Holding short runway 16 right, Air Canada 33.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, Lufthansa 1 Super, ready for departure in sequence at runway 16 right, departing north. Wilco, Qantas 12. Air Canada 33, line up and wait runway 16 right.
Line up and wait runway 16 right, Air Canada 33.
Air Canada 33, please expedite. Qatari 1 X-ray Lima, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway.
Wilco, Qatari 1 X-ray Lima.
Air Canada 33, continue taxi. Air Canada 33, wind 140 at 8, runway 16 right, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff. Runway 16 right, Air Canada 33.
Air India 305 India November Heavy, cross runway 16 right.
Crossing runway 16 right, Airlines.
Alpha Papa Tango, cross runway 16 right. Crossing runway 16 right, Alpha Papa Tango.
On final runway 16 left.
Qatari 1 X-ray Lima, cross runway 16 right. Tan 8073 Heavy, roger. Tan 8073 Heavy, wind 140 at 8, number 2, runway 16 left, cleared runway 16 right.
Holding short runway 16 right, United 773.
Qantas 3 Heavy, wind 140 at 8.
Great. Sydney Kingsford Tower, Fish 1
Contact ground on the taxiway. Wilco, New Zealand 504.
Malanga 173, inbound on the ILS runway 16 leftward information kilo.
Malanga 173, wind 140 at 8, number 1, runway 16 left, cleared to land.
Number 1, cleared to land, runway 16 line up and wait runway 16 right, Air Rodeo.
Qantas 12 Super, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway. Kenya 564, line up and wait runway 16 left. November 6224, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway.
Wilco, Qantas 12 Super.
Line up and wait runway 16 left, Kenya 564.
Airlines, wind 130 at 7, runway 16 right, cleared for takeoff. Qantas 12 Super, contact Sydney Kingsford ground on 1.
Line up and wait runway 16 right, Singapore 861 Heavy. Air Rodeo, request frequency change.
Airlines, contact Melbourne Centre on 127.0. Tan 0405, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway.
Contacting Melbourne Centre on 127.0, Air Rodeo. Wilco, Cam 0405.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, Emirates 003 Victor Alpha Heavy, inbound on the ILS runway 16 left.
Singapore 221 Super, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway.
Wilco, Singapore 221 Super.
Emirates 003 Victor Alpha Heavy, wind 13. Nomadic 73 Sierra, contact Sydney Kingsford ground on 126.5.
Contacting Sydney Kingsford ground on 126.5.
Alpha Heavy.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, Qantas 83, ready for departure at runway 16 right, departing north.
Alpha 6 Alpha Charlie Hotel Heavy, wind 130 at 7, runway 16 right, cleared for takeoff.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, Qantas 83, ready for departure at runway 16 right, departing west. Malanga 173, request permission to cross runway 7.
Turkish 1907, wind 130 at 7, number 2, runway 16 left, cleared to land.
Number 2, cleared to land, runway 16 left, Turkish 1907.
Malaysia 173, request permission to cross runway 16 left. Malaysia 17. Speedbird 78 Super, frequency change approved, good day. Frequency change approved Speedbird 78 Super, good day. November 6224, cross runway 16 right. Crossing runway 16 right, November 6224. Sydney Kingsford Tower, New Zealand 7860, ready for departure at runway 16 left, departing wind 130 at 7, number 1, runway 16 right, cleared to land. Number 1, cleared to land, runway 16 right, Etihad 001 Victor Alpha. Thank you, Etihad 001 Victor Alpha. Going around, New Zealand 109 Heavy.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, XXA 947, ready for departure at runway 16 left, departing straight out.
XXA 947, hold short of runway 16 left.
Holding short runway 16 left, XXA 947.
Runway 16 left, cleared for takeoff. Cleared for takeoff, runway 16 left, New Zealand 7860. Victor Hotel Foxtrot India Foxtrot, line up and wait runway 16 right. Line up and wait run. Sydney Kingsford Tower, Alpha 6 Alpha Charlie Hotel Heavy, inbound on the ILS runway 16 right with information kilo. Alpha 6 Alpha Charlie Hotel Heavy, wind 130 at 7, number 1, runway 16 right, cleared to land. Time 8073 Heavy, line up and wait runway 16 right. Number 1, cleared to land, runway 16 right, Alpha 6 Alpha Charlie Hotel Heavy. Line up and wait runway 16 right, TAM 8073 Heavy. Etihad 001 Victor Alpha, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway. Wilco, Etihad 001 Victor Alpha. Victor Hotel Bravo India Charlie, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway. Echo 5 Echo Lima Foxtrot, line up and wait runway 16 left. Line up and wait runway 16 left, Echo 5 Echo. Right. Sydney Kingsford Tower, Qantas 64 Super, inbound on the ILS runway 16 right with information Lima.
Line up and wait runway 16 right, China Southern 991 Heavy.
Qantas 64 Super, wind 130 at 7, number 1, runway 16 right, cleared to land. Number 1, cleared to land, runway 16 right, Qantas 64 Super. Echo 5 Echo Lima Foxtrot, contact Melbourne Centre on 127.0. Contacting Melbourne Centre on 127.0, Echo 5 Echo Lima Foxtrot. Alpha 6 Alpha Charlie Hotel Heavy, contact Sydney Kingsford Ground on 126.5. Sydney Kingsford Tower, November 44 Whiskey, ready for departure at runway 16 right, departing south. China Southern 991 Heavy, wind 130 at 7, runway 16 right, cleared for takeoff. November 44 Whiskey, hold short of runway 16 right. Line up and wait runway 16 right, November 44 Whiskey. Qantas 64 Super, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway.
Air India 007, request permission to cross runway 16 right.
Wilco, Qantas 64 Super. New Zealand 109 Heavy, is on final runway 16 right. November 44 Whiskey, wind 120 at 7, runway 16 right, cleared for takeoff. Cleared for takeoff, runway 16 right, November 44 Whiskey. New Zealand 109 Heavy, roger.
Holding short runway 16 right, Air India 007.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, velocity 4, inbound on the ILS runway 1.
Aeroflot 2732, line up and wait runway 16 right. Line up and wait runway 16 right, Aeroflot 2732. Air India 007, cross runway 16 right, please expedite. Holding short runway 16 left, Seabird 114 Bravo Alpha Super. Crossing runway 16 right, Air India 007. New Zealand 109 heavy, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway.
Wilco, New Zealand 109 heavy. Sydney Kingsford Tower, New Zealand 22 kilo heavy, inbound on the ILS runway 16 left.
New Zealand 22 kilo heavy, wind 120 at 7, number 2, runway 16 left, cleared to land.
Number 2, cleared to land, runway 16 left, New Zealand 22 kilo heavy.
Right, Victor Hotel Delta Kilo Lima.
Qantas 41, your number 2 for departure.
Roger, Qantas 41.
Victor Hotel Delta Kilo Lima, line up and wait runway 16 right.
Line up and wait runway 16 right, Victor Hotel Delta Kilo Lima.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, midnight 175 is 6 nautical miles to the north at 2,000 feet, inbound for landing.
Midnight 175, wind 120 at 7, number 2, runway 16 left, cleared to land.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, New Zealand 384 November Zulu, ready for departure at runway 16 right, departing east. Number 2, cleared to land, runway 16 left, 16 right, Qantas 021 Victor Alpha.
LL87, contact Melbourne Centre on 127.0. LL87, exit runway when able, contact ground on the taxiway.
Wilco, LL87.
Qantas 02 Alpha Super, line up and wait runway 16 left.
Line up and wait runway 16 left, Seabird 114 Bravo Alpha Super.
Qantas 128 heavy, wind 120 at 7, number 1, runway 16 left, cleared to land.
Number 1, cleared to land, runway 16 left, Qantas 128 heavy.
Midnight 175, exit runway when able, contact Speedbird 114 Bravo Alpha Super, wind 120 at 7, runway 16 left, cleared for takeoff. New Zealand 384 November Zulu, line up and wait runway 16 left.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, Delta 9910 Heavy, ready for departure at runway 16 right, departing east.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 16 left, Seabird 114 Bravo Alpha Super. Line up and wait runway 16 left, New Zealand 384 November Zulu.
Delta 9910 Heavy, wind 120 at 7, runway 16 right, cleared for takeoff.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, Qantas 646 Heavy, ready for departure at runway 16 right, departing straight out.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 16 right, Delta 9910 Heavy.
China Southern 3071 Heavy, exit runway when able and contact ground, please expedite. Qantas 646 Heavy, continue.
Holding short runway 16 left, Qantas 728 Heavy. Kingsford Ground, Victor Tango Alpha Sierra Hotel, ready to taxi to runway 16 right with information Lima. Sydney Kingsford Ground, CB 503 Bravo Romeo Heavy, ready to taxi to runway 16 right with information Lima. Super, ready for pushback with information Lima. Hold short of runway 16 right, midnight 175. Pushback approved, China Eastern 18 Super. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Emirates 9824, ready to taxi to runway 16 right with information Lima. Roger, midnight 175. Taxiing to runway 16 right, Emirates 9824. Sydney Kingsford ground, land Chile 008 Lima Alpha Heavy, ready to taxi with information Lima. Qantas 128 Heavy, request permission to cross runway 7.
Sydney Kingsford ground, Qantas 120 Lima, ready for pushback, requesting runway 16 right.
Holding position, velocity 5. Sydney Kingsford ground, Qantas 1 Super, ready for pushback with information Lima. Sydney Kingsford ground, World Express 97 Heavy, ready for pushback with information Lima. Pushback with information Lima, requesting runway 16 left. Holding position, World Express 97 Heavy.
Sydney Kingsford ground, FedEx 200, ready for pushback with information Lima.
Pushback approved, Qantas 1 Super. Emirates 6969 Heavy, disregard.
Singapore 366, ready for pushback with information Lima, requesting runway 16 right.
Qantas 128 Heavy, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7. Contacting Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7, Qantas 128 Heavy.
Pushback approved, Singapore 366.
Sydney Kingsford ground, velocity 5, ready for pushback with information Lima. Sydney Kingsford ground, Qantas 1 Super, ready to taxi to runway 16 right with information Lima. I'm sorry, velocity 5. New Zealand 105, cross runway 7. Crossing runway 7, New Zealand 105. Pushback approved, Air China 174 Heavy. Sydney Kingsford ground, Emirates 6969 Heavy, ready to taxi to runway 16 right with information Lima. Holding position, Emirates 9824. Sydney Kingsford ground, New Zealand 109, request taxi to parking.
Pushback approved, Singapore 222 Sierra Quebec Super.
Sydney Kingsford ground, Air China 174 Heavy, ready to taxi to runway 16 right with information Lima. Taxiing to runway 16 right via Alpha, Air China 174 Heavy.
Sydney Kingsford ground, velocity 695, request taxi to parking.
31 at the international terminal.
Sydney Kingsford ground, Qantas 867 Super, request taxi to Bay 59 at the international terminal. Sydney Kingsford ground, Qantas 867 Super, request taxi to Bay 58 at the international terminal.
Taxi November Heavy. Stand by, World Express 97 Heavy. Air India 555 India November Heavy, request permission to cross runway 16 right. November 44 Whiskey, cross runway 7. Taxiing to International Terminal Bay 9 via Alpha. Sydney Kingsford ground, Victor Tango India November Delta, request taxi to parking. Taxiing to Terminal 3 Remote Stand 69, Q-Link 2178. Sydney Kingsford ground, November 195 Uniform Victor, ready for pushback with information Lima. Sydney Kingsford ground, Alitalia 23 Super, ready to taxi with information Lima. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Bravo 932 Sierra Heavy, ready to taxi to runway 16 right with information Lima. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Dynasty 51 Heavy, request taxi to Bay 34 at the International Terminal.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Velocity 5, ready for pushback with information Lima.
Sydney Kingsford,
Qantas 867 Super, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7.
Contacting Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7, Qantas 867 Super.
hold short of runway 16 right, New Zealand 109. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Charlie November Romeo Hotel Alpha, ready for pushback. Pushback approved, Qatari 078 Echo Bravo Super. Taxiing to runway 16 left, Alitalia 23 Super.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, FedEx 200, ready for pushback with information Lima. Sydney Kingsford Ground, FedEx 200, ready for pushback with information Lima.
Dynasty 51 Heavy, cross runway 7. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Kuwaiti 737, ready to taxi to runway 16 right.
Crossing runway 7, Dynasty 51 Heavy. Sydney Kingsford Ground, November 195 Uniform Victor, ready for pushback with information Lima. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Delta 627 Heavy. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Singapore 222, request taxi to Bay 57 at the International Terminal.
Frequency change approved Cathay 739 Heavy, good day. Thank you, good day, Cathay 739 Heavy.
Qantas 22 Quebec Romeo Heavy, hold short of runway 16 right.
Holding short runway 16 right, Qantas 22 Quebec Romeo Heavy.
286, wind 130 at 10, runway 16 right, cleared for takeoff. Cleared for takeoff, runway 16 right, QN 286. QN 286, wind 130 at 10, runway 16 left, cleared for takeoff.
Yankee Romeo Golf Bravo Yankee, request permission to cross runway 16 right.
Yankee Romeo Golf Bravo Yankee, cross runway 16 right.
Crossing runway 16 right, Yankee Romeo Golf Bravo Yankee.
Sydney Kingsford Tower, Q-Link 1503, ready for departure at Number 1, cleared to land, runway 16 left, Delta 41. Taxiing to runway 16 right via Golf, Alpha, November 195 Uniform Victor. Give way to aircraft, Singapore 222, Q-Link 187, ready for pushback with information Lima. Sydney Kingsford Ground, China Eastern 712 Heavy, request taxi to Bay 33 at the International Terminal. Taxi to parking, FedEx 453. Thank you, FedEx 45. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Q-Link 187, ready to taxi with information Lima. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Tango Charlie Oscar November Romeo, request taxi to Bay 59 at the International Terminal. Sydney Kingsford 16 left, Q-Link 187. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Emirates 417, ready for pushback with information Mike. Sydney Kingsford Ground,
Edelweiss 2002 Super, ready for pushback with information Lima, requesting runway 16 right. Jetstar 221, hold position.
Holding position, Jetstar 221.
Tango Charlie Oscar November Romeo, cross runway 7.
Taxiing to runway 16 right via Golf, Alpha, Jetstar 221.
Taxi to parking, Jetstar 761. Q-Link 187, cross runway 7.
Crossing runway 7, Q-Link 187.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Qantas.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, World Express 97 Heavy, ready for pushback with information Lima.
International remote stand 74A, QJet 7227.
China Eastern 712 Heavy, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Navy 408, ready to taxi to runway 16 right. Sydney Kingsford Ground, World Express 16 Heavy, taxi to runway 16 right with information Lima.
Pushback approved, Qantas 2426 Super.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Qantas 402, request taxi to Bay 12 at the Terminal 3. Edelweiss 2002 Sydney Kingsford Ground, QLink 286, ready for pushback with information Mike.
QJet 7227, cross runway 7. Taxiing to BB Tango, Lima, Bravo, Hawaiian 90 Heavy.
Crossing runway 7, QJet 7227.
Navy 408, request permission to cross runway 25.
Taxiing to runway 16 right via Golf, Alpha, Qantas 145.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, All Nippon 0975 Super, request taxi to Bay 55 at the Terminal 2.
Navy 408, cross runway 7.
QJet 7227, request permission to cross runway 16 right.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Qantas 402, request taxi to Bay 11 at the Terminal 3. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Scooter 22 Tango Romeo, request taxi to Bay 24 at the International Terminal. Taxiing to Terminal 3 Bay 11 via Bravo.
Taxiing to waypoint via Tango, Lima, Bravo, Qantas 450.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Golf Tango Sierra Hotel November, ready for pushback with information Mike. Continue taxi, Qantas 186. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Charlie India Alpha Kilo Alpha, ready to taxi with information Mike. Holding position, Golf Tango Sierra Hotel November. Taxiing to runway 16 right via Golf, Alpha, Charlie India Alpha Kilo Alpha. All Nippon 0975 Super, request permission to cross runway 7. Pushback approved, Alpha Papa November Sierra Sierra Heavy. Taxiing to
Left, Qantas 450.
Give way to aircraft, Qantas 186. Pushback approved, tail to the north, runway 16 left, Air Portugal 011 Tango Papa. Pushback approved. Pushback approved, Golf Tango Sierra Hotel November.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, land shown 801, request taxi to Bay 59 at the International Terminal.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Air Portugal November.
Thank you, good day, Qantas 450.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, velocity 1022 Super, ready for pushback with information Mike.
Holding position, China Eastern 712 Heavy.
Land shown 801, request permission to cross runway 7. Air China 174 Heavy, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 1.
Give way to aircraft, Turkish 052 Victor Alpha Super. Hold short of runway 16 right, velocity 556.
Velocity 556.
Crossing runway 7, Kenya 9 Quebec Quebec Heavy.
November 311 Tango Yankee, cross runway 7.
Taxiing to runway 16 left, Foxtrot Lima Oscar Romeo India Alpha November. Crossing runway 7, November 311 Tango Yankee. Taxiing to runway 16 right via Alpha, Qantas 7 Super. Roger, Emirates 453 Super. Pushback approved, tail to the north, runway 16 left, Cathay 1108 Super. Continued taxi, Foxtrot Lima Oscar Romeo India Alpha November. Foxtrot Lima Oscar Romeo India Alpha November, request permission to cross runway 7. Give way to aircraft, Emirates 453 Super.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Qantas 28 Golf Mike, request taxi to parking. Foxtrot Lima Oscar Romeo India Alpha November, cross runway 7.
Crossing runway 7, Foxtrot Lima Oscar Romeo India Alpha November. To waypoint via Charlie, Bravo 8, Bravo, Metlink 928 Super.
Taxiing to runway 16 right via Golf, Alpha, Air China 737. Give way to aircraft, Qantas 145.
Charlie India Alpha Kilo Alpha, disregard last message. Charlie India Alpha. New Zealand 07, wind 140 at 5, number 1, runway 16 left, cleared to land.
Number 1, cleared to land, runway 16 left, New Zealand 07.
Sydney Kingsford Tower 07 Heavy, hold short of runway 16 right. Holding short runway 16 right, Lufthansa 007 Heavy. Sydney Kingsford Tower, Speedbird 1, ready for departure in sequence at runway 16 right, departing straight out. Speedbird 1, hold short of runway 16. New Zealand 07, exit runway when able, contact
To the north, Qantas 2610.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Speedbird 25 Super, ready to taxi with information November. Holding position, Qantas 129 Charlie X-Ray Super.
Speedbird 25 Super, hold position.
Holding position, Speedbird 25
Super, ready to taxi with information November. Qantas 34 Quebec Super, hold position. Holding position, Qantas 34 Quebec Super. Attention all aircraft, airport is busy Bravo 2, hold short of 16 right 34 left. Qantas 34 Quebec Super, runway 16 right, taxi via Foxtrot, Alpha, hold short of 16 right 34 left.
Taxiing to runway 16 right via Bravo 2, will hold short of 16 right 34 left, Q-Link 1990. Ready for pushback with information November.
China Eastern 326, pushback approved.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, New Zealand 107, request taxi to base 63 at the International Terminal. Sydney Kingsford Ground, United 87.
New Zealand 07, cross runway 7.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, November 44 Whiskey, ready for pushback with information November.
Crossing runway 7, New Zealand 07.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Qantas 479, ready for pushback with information November, requesting runway 16 right. Sydney Kingsford Ground, United 870 Heavy, ready to taxi to runway 16 right.
United 870 Heavy, runway 16 right, taxi via Golf, Alpha, hold short of 16 right 34 left.
Taxiing to runway 16 right via Golf,
hold short of 16 right 34 left.
Taxiing to runway 16 right via Foxtrot, Alpha, will hold short of 16 right 34 left, Emirates 453 Super.
China Eastern 326, thank you.
You're welcome, China Eastern 326. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Velocity 3 Echo Zulu Heavy, request taxi to Bay 59 at the International Terminal. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Qantas 479, ready to taxi to runway 16 left with information November.
Velocity 3 Echo Zulu Heavy, taxi to International Terminal Bay 59, hold short of 16 right 34 left.
Taxiing to International Terminal Bay 57, Emirates 412 Heavy.
November 44 Whiskey, runway 16 right, taxi via Alpha, hold short of 16 right 34 left.
Taxiing to runway 16 right via Alpha. Pushback approved, tail to the north, Air India 301 Heavy.
Infinite Flight 100 Romeo Zulu, pushback approved, tail to the east, expect runway 16 left.
Sydney Kingsford Ground, Lufthansa. Contacting Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7, Velocity 3 Echo Zulu Heavy. Sydney Kingsford Ground, Air Force 206 Super, ready for pushback with information November. Contacting Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124 Ground, American 1, ready to taxi with information November. Sydney Kingsford Ground, New Zealand 2201 Heavy, request taxi to Bay 50 at the International Terminal.
Lufthansa 69, contact Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7. Virgin 9870, hold position.
Hold short of runway 7, Velocity 3 Echo Zulu Heavy. Contacting Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7. Contacting Sydney Kingsford Tower on 124.7, American 1. Taxi to Bay 36 at the International Terminal. Pushback approved, tail to the north, Singapore 232.
New Zealand 6112 Heavy, taxi to International Terminal Bay 36, hold short of 16 right 34 left.